What is going on over at Kongregate? Welcome back to another video, fellas. This, of course, is going to be a little bit different. Yesterday, at the time of filming this, I woke up to this notice and a bunch of questions on Discord. And instead of kind of hitting everybody individually, I'd rather just put it all together, get this announcement out there, and give you guys my thoughts on it for those of you that want it. So for the 12 of you that might not be familiar with Kongregate, they are a publisher / developer that bought Bit Heroes a year or two ago. That's how I know them. That's probably how most of you know them. Little backstory on Kong. They were sold from GameStop, the amazing, well-reputable company GameStop. They were sold from GameStop to MTG, that is Modern Times Group, I believe, in 2017 for $55 million American. So relatively big deal. They got over 100,000 games, mostly Flash games, and that will be important in this, notice. They also had, and these are numbers from 2017, they had 14 million monthly active users across all platforms. That's probably the biggest reason why MTG decided to buy them, because at the same time they bought a pretty big, I think, German publisher to give them a good foothold in the United States as well as in Europe as far as these kinds of games. So yeah, Flash, mostly known for Flash games. They've been getting their toes in the water with putting games on Steam as well as mobile, and of course mobile's such a big market. And of course Flash is dying, and we're going to talk about that. But they've also been getting their toes in the water as far as actually developing games themselves, and when we were pretty aware of that as far as when they bought Bit Heroes around Tier 10, and they've been doing their own thing since then. So let's get into it. As most of you know, Kongregate.com was first created in 2006. The gaming industry has changed a lot since then! Exclamation point, showing you how excited they are to bring this announcement to you. I always feel kind of weird about when it's like, this is obviously not a good announcement, yet, the excitement in the announcement, I don't get it. I'm probably making a big point about nothing. Also, what is funny is if you hover the link, it says, post your, where does it say? Let me see. Post your thoughts in the discussion board or read fellow gamers' opinions. Yeah, this thread is locked, which is basically pretty consistent to my experiences with Kong thus far, but who knows? I'll keep my bias. I'll reel it in. I'll reel it in a little bit. During the intervening years, Kongregate as a company has grown and adjusted with those industry-wide changes. Today, our business is largely focused on developing games, and Flash, as you are aware, is slowly going away. That means that Kongregate.com will need to evolve as well. So keyword on slowly, Adobe announced that Flash was no longer going to receive support. They announced that in 2018 to the public, and I assume that if you're in the industry doing all this stuff on Flash, that is pretty well known. In 2017, Flash was like 80% of the market, and by 2016, Flash was 80% of the market, and by 2017, it was around 8% of the market. Things moving away from Flash, iOS not supporting Flash, things like that. So this was not a surprise to anyone. It was announced that Flash is no longer being supported by 2020. And one of the biggest burning questions everybody had when Kong acquired Bit Heroes was, what's going to happen to Bit Heroes? Bit Heroes is a Flash game. Flash is losing support. What are you guys going to do? And the answer 2 years ago and 1 year ago, it's been the same, and it's been the same that it is now. Don't you worry. We're going to port Bit Heroes over to Unity. And don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And they told us that was happening soon, and soon has lasted for 2 years so far, and it's been a point of frustration. Porting something over, unless there's some sort of something I don't know about, I'm not that aware of these kind of things, but Bit Heroes was written in ActionScript for Flash, and Unity uses C#. So essentially, they're going to have to rewrite the entire game, and this is something that they've known when they purchased the game, and it's something that they've supposedly been working on. But I am yet to see any sort of concrete statement of, Unity port is happening at this date. We're all just assuming and hoping and having our fingers crossed that things will work out. And it's fairly stressful for a game. I mean, if you've been a member of a game, a member of a community, and you feel like you're in limbo, or maybe your game's going to get no longer be supported, that's stressful, man. A lot of people have invested a lot of time and effort in a game like Bit Heroes. So, yeah, let us continue. We will be rolling out several changes to the website over the coming days and months, the first of which is that we will no longer be accepting new titles on Kongregate.com as of today. We also will not be adding any more badges to games. You'll be able to play our existing library of over 100,000 amazing games, and developers will be able to update their games as normal. So you can take most of this announcement as changes to the website, but they've kind of made it ambiguous enough that it sounds like changes to Kong in general. And that's where I think a lot of the confusion is coming from, and probably why people are asking me so many questions. In addition, we will be disabling a number of Kongregate.com's social features later this month and in the future. We know that this change will be frustrating to many of you, but we wanted to give you a chance to plan for it so you don't lose contact with the many friends you've made on Kong.com over the years. This gets a little bit more concerning because, like I said, my assumption is the biggest selling value of Kongregate was the 14 million monthly active users across all platforms. If I was MTG, that's what I would care about. I would care more about the user base than I would about whatever titles they have. And if Kong is not going to support community features, what? That doesn't make any sense. Your biggest selling point is your community, yet you can't support the website? What? Doesn't make any sense. And the other thing is, we've known that Flash is going away for 2 years. You didn't use that time to update and change your website from Flash to anything else. YouTube used to use Flash for videos, but they got out of that pretty quick as the market was shifting. Like, this is not news. This shouldn't be news. All right. For those who crave all the details, the following change will happen on or around July 22nd. Chat rooms not associated with a particular game, including Badge of the Day chat rooms, will be closing. Many game-specific chat rooms will no longer be available, but some games, roughly 20, will continue to have chat. Certain non-gaming forums, off-topic serious discussion, the arts, and forum games will be removed from the site. Most other forums will be moved to a read-only state in which administrators make announcements, but players will not be able to post. This will not affect the forums for Animation Throwdown, Bit Heroes, and other Kongregate-related created games. Individuals wishing to create a new account will be required to verify their email address. So just take that in for a second. This is what companies say when they're chopping off assets that are costing them more money than they're bringing in. Does it cost that much to run a chat that you need to cut that as an expense? That's what I'm reading this as. Anybody feel free to make your information known, but is it just that expensive to run a chat that you can't just leave it up, or is it that expensive that you can't possibly just convert your chat or your chat room or forum over to something that doesn't use Flash? How much of this is Flash related? It sounds like they don't have the resources to run the website, and this was a company that was sold for $55 million a couple years ago. What is going on? Please be aware that as part of our focus on developing games, we will have fewer resources to support Kong.com. That said, our support team will do their best to help players experiencing in-game issues. So again, having fewer resources, are they running out of money? Do they not have enough development to handle the website and the chat rooms? What does this mean for their games, for smaller games? Is this the first of many announcements? This is the language that a company uses when things are not going well. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's 2020, anything can happen. I totally get that. I wonder how much of this is related to the global situation. We thank you for your continued support as we take this next step into our future. Next step into our future is like usually what you hear on some company's Twitter page when they're either selling or declaring something. I don't know. I don't want to make too big accusations. On one hand, this entire announcement could only be website related stuff, but they have worded this in such a way, it sounds to me, if I was an investor, I was thinking about anything like this, it sounds to me like they're chopping off all their expenses, anything that's costing them more money than it's bringing in. They're just chopping it, getting rid of it. And either they're packaging themselves up to be sold, or something's going to happen. Big moves are going to happen. You know, if you're going to get ready to sell a company, you want to kind of ditch anything that's costing you money. That way you look more profitable, and then it makes you more appealing if someone wants to buy or do something with this. Obviously, those are pretty big. That's a pretty big assumption, but this announcement has raised more questions than it answered. If you want to read it yourself, website's at the top, of course, but not a great announcement, very ambiguous. Is this only changes to the website, or is this changes to the entire structure of the company? And anytime you make an announcement that causes more questions than an answer, it's just not a good look. I did post in the official Bit Heroes Discord, but of course didn't really get any concrete information there. I left that hanging for over a day. All I got was memes and whatnot, and it's basically what I expect. Ellie, that is the community manager over at Bit Heroes, and she did post, let's just read her announcement. Kongregate announced changes to the website/company yesterday, and I think this may have given people some questions or concern about the future of Bit Heroes. We are still working on the game and hope to offer you great content well into the future. The teams affected by the changes do not include the Bit Heroes core team, and the website changes will not affect Bit Heroes much, if at all. All forums and chat rooms for Bit Heroes will remain the same. And currently, the Unity port is still in the works to keep Bit Heroes available on all current platforms for long after Flash support has ended. That's the same announcement we've had for 2 years, essentially. Bit Heroes is fine, don't worry about anything, we're still working on stuff, Flash port's coming, don't you worry, no big deal. Nothing concrete, nothing, okay, Unity port's happening at this time, we're all just hoping it happens before the end of the year. I was even told by someone who should be informed on this, that they were trying to get more support for Flash to go on so they wouldn't have to port it. I don't know how credible that is, so just, I don't know, probably should have mentioned it. But this is where we're at, no concrete info, doesn't make much sense. And the other thing that we've been seeing, as 2020 rolls on, is a lot of times, the developers, the people who are actually working on the changes that you see, the day-to-day impact that you see, whether you're playing the game or in chat rooms, those people typically are not aware of the changes that are made high up in a company like Kongregate or, in MTG. Maybe MTG is doing something with this. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen large corporations this year multiple times make an announcement, hey, everything's great, don't worry about it. And the next week, the entire staff is being notified via tweet that the company is shutting down or bankruptcy or whatever they're doing. So I'm not saying that's what's happening here. It's 2020, anything can happen. But when you make an announcement like this is so vague that doesn't really make a lot of sense, what do you expect? So 2020 rolls on, Kong doing Kong things. Things have been worded recently that to make it sound like Bit Heroes is in a good spot. Bit Heroes is still possibly profitable. I think the words that were used in public chat was the metrics that you use to measure the health of the game were all going in the right direction. But that's something that's been said all the time. You won't get any concrete answers or whatnot because MTG and or Kong are publicly traded. So releasing those numbers could affect stock prices and whatnot, so they can't do that. And they never give you that information anyway. I think after World of Warcraft stopped announcing active player numbers is basically when the entire gaming industry stopped announcing active player numbers because it affects stock price and all those things. Also, in games like this, the active number of players is not an adequate measure of how much money a game generates based on microtransactions. You could have a game that has 10 active players, but everybody's spending a ton of money every day, or you have a game that has 10,000 players and nobody's spending anything. So you could see the variance there. The number of active players wouldn't be the biggest metric for them to focus on. So Bit Heroes, again, possibly in limbo. Don't know what's going on with Kong. Could Kong be getting sold? Maybe, maybe not. Could Bit Heroes be getting sold? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But there's a lot going on. A lot more questions. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about the situation? How do you feel about your character? I don't know. A lot of people are asking me, hey, Gav, the new tier came out. Are you coming back to Bit Heroes? It's not on my list of things to do at the moment. I do have a lot of resources on my old Bit Heroes account, and it has been tempting when I'm able to come back to streaming. I kind of want to run in there and burn all of the resources off and just see where the game's at. basically. But I wouldn't expect that anytime soon. And who knows, I might need to jump on and burn all my resources before 2020 comes out, because I have very low confidence in the whole Flash situation. We have been told 2 years ago, essentially 2 years ago, that, oh yeah, Unity port's right around the corner. Hardly. I don't think that's the case. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned for my friends over there at Bit Heroes. But let me know what you guys think. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.